Because if somebody has a 10% contact rate, and out of those 10% of contact, maybe only half get a quote, versus you have somebody with a 30% contact rate and only half get a quote, which company should you invest your money into going forward? It's a no-brainer, right? The one that let you quote the most. Hello and welcome to the Insurance Agents Think Tank podcast. I'm your host, Todd McLean. Today's topic is one that I hear all the time. Hey Todd, what do you think about this marketing source? Or what do you think about doing this kind of marketing? And so I really wanted to dive into a fundamental difference between passive marketing and active marketing. It's a subject that many agents don't even consider before building their marketing systems in their office. So don't forget, you can check us out, this podcast out on agentsthinktank.com. Let's dive into the differences between active marketing and passive marketing. So when I was a new agent, something that I wish I would have been taught up front is I need to consider, am I doing more of an active marketing type or am I doing more of a passive marketing type? And let me kind of dive into what I mean, because this is really marketing 101. If you're not considering, anytime that you get into a different marketing source, you should consider, is this active marketing or passive marketing? And do I have too much of either in order to hit my goals? So let's go into a different couple of examples of what each might be. So passive marketing means you're waiting for someone, it's passive, to raise their hand in order to get a quote. Things like referrals, direct mail, door-to-door, right? You're asking people for something in order later at some point to get them to reach back out to you. Now with passive marketing, what I like to tell agents is be careful about passive marketing depending on how competitive you are in your market. I've seen way too many agents struggle to, for example, build referral relationships. Well, in the Dallas area, as a farmer's agent, if I try to build mortgage referral relationships, I'm going to get my butt kicked because we're just not that competitive on home in my current market. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you want to be cognizant of your competitiveness in your market for passive types of marketing campaigns. The other type of marketing campaigns that you can do are active type of marketing campaigns. So you are actively trying, going out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, careful post-COVID world, right? But you're actively asking people for a quote. You can control your destiny. You can control the amount of quotes that you're doing because of statistics. So again, with passive marketing, you're waiting. On active marketing, you're controlling because of the numbers, right? So with active marketing, well, technically with both, you want to know your numbers. But with active marketing, it's really important to track your results in order for you to scale. So let's go into some examples. Active marketing. For newer agents, I see all sorts of agents when they get into our industry, they start buying internet leads day one, right? So internet leads are active. They're people that are going online, filling something out, raising their hand for a quote. But again, they're being sold probably to 3 to 5 different agents, especially newer leads, right? And one of the things that I want you to be really cognizant of with internet leads is buying them from multiple lead companies up front. Do not pick one lead company. You need to have at least 2, I recommend 3, and test them out for 60 to 90 days. Because what I want you to track is what your contact rate and your quote rate is for those lead providers. Because if somebody has a 10% contact rate, and out of those 10% of contact, maybe only half get a quote, versus you have somebody with a 30% contact rate and only half get a quote, which company should you invest your money into going forward? It's a no-brainer, right? The one that let you quote the most. But if you only tried one company, you would never know that, and you'd just say internet leads suck, and I'm never going to try that again, right? But at the end of the day, you're able to control your quote volume because with just a click of a mouse pad, you can turn up your volume or turn it down. And so how I do it in my office is I have direct mail through smarketingmail.com, a mail provider that I created, due to with direct mail, passive marketing that you can kind of control based on the volume that you send out. So with a passive marketing system like direct mail, you have to be really careful about not sending enough volume, because if your contact rate's not there, you're not going to get the volume, the quote volume you need in order to even break even or get a good ROI, say 18 months down the road with direct mail. So what I do in my office is with direct mail, I send out about 5,000 mail pieces per producer. That's the number that I found in my market with my contact rate, with my ROI. In order for me to break even on that marketing campaign by my 18th month, I'm sending out 5,000 mail pieces. But on a good month, I'll get about a 0.5% contact rate. On a great month, about 0.75%. But what I can do is every morning when my producers come in, if they're noticing that they're not getting the call-in volume that they need, they can easily turn up my internet lead volume. And then if they are getting good contact rate and maybe they can't even keep up with the quotes that they're getting on the inbound calls, they can simply just click a button and pause or turn down my internet leads. So it's really important that you have a balance of both passive and active, because on the passive side, it's kind of like a breather for your staff. It's easier to close leads, but I do want to disclose, with something like direct mail, those costs per lead, cost per inbound call is extremely high. So you would never let a brand new producer work direct mail inbound calls, right? You want the best closers, the people who can close those expensive call-ins, to work those with the active marketing, like your internet leads. That's what I put newer agents on, making sure that they learn how to quote, that they're getting their sales pitch down. The other thing with passive marketing, so a lot of people like to build referral relationships, mortgage brokers, realtors. It's one of the best marketing sources that you can do. Now, again, I'm going to go back and say that if you're not competitive, if you're in a bad rate cycle, I would spend more time on the things that you can control, because in a bad rate cycle, you need higher quote volume. You can't get good high quote volume from a referral source, because the more they send you, if you're hurting their DTI and their requirements for the payment to be lower, your volume is going to drop, right? So in bad rate cycle environments, you really need to focus your time and energy in building active marketing campaigns. Telemarketing, you need to be able to control your contact rate, your speed to contact, so using a dialing system. And then you can figure out, just as an example with telemarketing, if I put a telemarketer, and by the way, you can get scripts and things like that in our files section of our Insurance Think Tank Facebook group. Just click on files. But with a telemarketer, I know that if I load 1,000 leads in a dialer system, and I figure out over time, my telemarketer can make 100 dials an hour, I can see that she made 10 contacts and 1 quote on average from 10 contacts. If you know those statistics, then you can get reasonable expectations and kind of forecast what you're going to make off telemarketing. Same thing with internet leads. Once you track over time, you can start to figure out what your expectations should be. And once you know your numbers, your eyes kind of open up. It makes the world a lot easier place to live in, because you know what your expectations should be given the results over time. Things like events. I've seen people have success with boat shows, with wedding venues, with all sorts of things. Just make sure that with events, it is a type of active marketing, because you're physically in front of people. I'm not sure what post-COVID events are going to look like. Hopefully they come back in the fall, but events are going to get you that face-to-face active marketing. And we'll talk more about each topic in depth on what to do, but this really is all about how you should think about structuring any type of marketing source that you're going to get into. So just in summary, if you're thinking about doing marketing, okay, whatever type or source of marketing that you're doing, I want you to first ask yourself, is this passive or is this active? If it's passive, do you have reasonable expectations on the results you're going to get, right? Do you have the right contact rate if it's any kind of like outbound ad that you're going to send or direct mail that you're going to send? Do you have the right expectation? Do you have the right people working it? If it's a passive referral source, are you competitive in your current marketplace? If you're not competitive, you might not want to spend too much time and energy in trying to build referral relationships until you can compete in your market with those with the numbers that they need to hit on their DTI. If you're in a bad rate cycle, then I would totally focus my time and energy on my active marketing sources. And if I'm going to do an active type of marketing source, am I tracking the metrics that I need in order to scale this, which is my dial rate, my contact rate, and my quote rate? And am I buying leads from the best source after trying at least 2 or 3 sources for each? So hopefully this just got you, your brain juice is flowing. You're thinking about, am I doing active or passive? Am I tracking the results that I need to be tracking in order to have a successful marketing platform for my agency? Again, you can check out our podcasts on agentsthinktank.com, and I look forward to many future podcasts. We have some exciting podcasts with guests going over each type of marketing system that they do in their office, and hopefully give you guys some great tips and ideas that you might have not thought about. Have a great day.